Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kyle here with another Exos Heroes video. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down FC Baraka. I just figured it'd be good timing based on the Fake or Chance Re coming out. So we're just going to be breaking down his stats and abilities, where to use them, and then also some team synergies so we can go over what teammates fit him best. So let's get into it. Stats in this game are actually really easy to just know based on the passive. Every character in the game has a very similar stat distribution based on what passive they have. It's still good to go over it because I think sometimes it slips through the cracks and it's not always consistent. Since he is a finishing blow character, you're going to be expecting low survivability, high speed, high crit rate, high attack. That's pretty much what you're going to see here. And then if you see these numbers here, once you start to compare them with the other classes, you'll realize that, oh, this is a lot of crit rate. This is a lot of attack, compared to the other classes. Pretty much it when it comes to this guy. These kind of characters usually go first. They're going to be only outsped by characters like this that are in the focus fire category. 124, we have 114. Yeah, so they outspeed him just a little bit. Difference between the normal Fake Core and the blue Fake Core is literally just going to be the first Guardian passive. I'll have it on here so you could pause it and read it. There's a lot to take in here if you're new to the game and haven't learned about this passive yet. But essentially, it's just going to really increase your survivability. And then also when you take damage, you're going to be able to dish it back. It's also going to help anyone in your row with that passive too. A lot of moving parts to it. I have done a video on it. If you want to get the specifics, I'd recommend checking out that video. That's going to be the big difference between normal Baraka and blue Fake Core Baraka. His active 1 is going to be deals 225% damage to one enemy, and then resets the turn that the target dies. And then if the target has disheartened, steals 1 mana from the target and grants 2 mana to a back row ally of the target as that debuff. Next, his active 2 deals 525% damage to one enemy, and then steals 1 mana from the target and grants 2 mana to a back row ally if the target is disheartened. The character that has disheartened, the only character in the game that apply that is going to be Rachel. So he's going to synergize very well with Fake Core Baraka to be able to give that plunder ability when you do your moves. Now that we get an idea of this kid, he's just a very fast assassin, pretty straightforward. Let's talk about where he's going to be used. Definitely going to be useful in all game modes. He's going to be useful in PvP, challenges, Holy Dragon Grounds. There's really no part of the game where he's not good in. It's just nowadays that there's other characters, depending on who you pull, that might do his job a little better than he does. When it comes to PvP, the first Guardian passive has definitely kind of fallen off a bit. Better characters out nowadays. Down a peg when it comes to PvP. He's still good. He's just not top tier anymore. Definitely going to be S tier when it comes to challenges, and hopefully getting you to the point where you can just start to quick battle it. He's just an overall very solid character. We should talk about specifically to him, since he's a blue Fake Core, he's going to be buffing certain characters in your roster. Let's actually take a look at which characters he buffs and how good those characters are. Characters that he actually buffs, and then a lot of these characters are really good. For example, Brock himself's good, and then Garf, Rudely, kind of Valar, Magi for sure, especially if you have the Guardian Magi. Sabrina, FC Annie is amazing, Scarlet, and Otard. So he went from buffing essentially just himself to buffing all of these characters, and a lot of these characters really scale well with HPs, namely Garf and Rudely here. So you're going to be giving a decent HP buff if you get one, but if you fuse them, then you could be giving these characters a massive boost, and then they're all very useful characters in their own right. So a very good blue Fake Core buff nowadays. Covered his abilities, covered where he's used at. Now let's talk about team synergies. The obvious one is going to be with Rachel. And the reason why Rachel's good is not only is he giving Dishearten, which is going to directly buffs his moves, but the passive that Dishearten applies actively helps him out too. Afflicts enemies with lower attack than self with the Dishearten mark and decreases their dodge by 50% and their defense by 20%. It's one of the things that can actually go off before he goes because he's so fast normally, making his moves miss less, and he's going to be giving him a damage boost right at the start. So Rachel, even though it's pretty obvious, a really good synergy there. Well, another character that's going to be very good with him is FC Annie. Due to him being fast, Annie gives the character on your team with the highest speed extra mana. Being able to have him go first and immediately do his ult is really impactful. Here's the passive right here, which is Burning Soul grants one ally except the caster with the fastest attack speed, damage immunity, and 300% increase to critical hit for 2 turns, and gain 3 mana every round. This passive is very general and useful on pretty much anyone. Everyone wants more mana. If you're fast enough to where you can realistically go first on a team, then she's going to be one of the first characters you're going to want to look at. I think she gets looked at a little bit more, especially when it's a character that is naturally so fast. The direct synergies were definitely pretty straightforward. I think it just speaks to how good of a character he is. He's just good regardless, and he's just going to fit into a team. He does get a boost from a few characters with better synergies. And then lastly, just a couple things I wanted to mention. I didn't have a structure for it. The Guardian Stones that I've used on him, most of the time I used them was before Awakening. I haven't really used him after Awakening. He might change a bit with having the less critical hit rate, but significantly more attack and health. But what I've always used on him is either purple sets. I think that helps the most with challenges, making sure he's survivable. Now that challenges are just on a quick battle, wanted to optimize him for the Holy Dragon Grounds. And I think the best way to do that is with the machine set. Like ideally, you're going to want to go either 4 or 6. It's very useful for a couple things. Getting around taunt, these provoke tanks. Well, a big one is Illum here. It was really nice to have a machine set. Like let's say you get someone really low and it's going to proc his passive. She's going to block and like put up a provoke before he actually goes and does his final hit passive. But if he has a machine set, this provoke doesn't affect him and he just goes right past her and then kills the guy. I thought machine sets were really good in PvP, and then also in PvE, machine sets are fantastic for phase 4 when he ends up stunning everyone in the group when he does his roar, and he's not going to get stunned, and he's essentially going to be your main damage dealer, especially on machine days, and or maybe Jin, then he's going to get significantly more damage in those phases of the dragon. That's pretty much it when it comes to FC Baraka. I do want to say that for this banner, I actually chose Baraka because a lot of those characters that are in his blue fake core, because I don't really use him too much anymore, but the characters in his blue fake core are actually really good. And I use them a ton, namely Garf, Annie, Rudely, like all those characters. So I don't know how hard I'm going to actually try for it. Picked him and did the 200 Zess, but I might go for the fuse. I don't know. I'm pretty tapped after the whole pulling for Iden thing. That's totally situational. I just want to give you an idea that I actually chose Baraka for that event to give you an idea of how I think of him. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this. If there's anything else I should cover, or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And with that, you guys have a good one.